So teacher asks kids in class, what does chicken give you? And one student says, meat. Very good, says the teacher. And what does the pig give you? Another student says, bacon. Excellent, teacher says. And what does a fat cow give you? And Temba answers, homework. Good evening and welcome to Talk with Rams. My name is Rams Mabote. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have had a great weekend. It's a bit nippy towards the end of the weekend, but I'm told that the cold front is going away. Thank you for choosing to be with us tonight and every night that you join us on the show. Before I go to our main feature, I need to tell you that I'm slightly depressed. I went into Soweto yesterday and I was shocked with what I saw. There is absolutely no lockdown. Forget about levels. There's no lockdown. Life continues as normal in that part of the world. But even worse for me, people do not wear masks. And I had to reach a conclusion that I think people feel they look like idiots if they wore a mask because everybody else is not wearing a mask. I mean, I saw two young kids, young people, maybe they are in their teens, they had gone to some class, clearly extra school class. They were in school uniform. So it was in the afternoon on a Sunday. So they're doing the right thing. They lost some time during the lockdown, so they're catching up, doing some more school work. But why then not wear masks? It doesn't make sense. I mean, I was tempted to stop them and say, you guys worry more about your studies, which is a great thing, but what about your lives? I'm concerned. But anyway, that's it. So we are on a Talk with Rams live on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube. Do subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on Instagram and like our Facebook page. Subscribing to our YouTube page will also help you to be able to qualify for the discount of Dr. Thando Sibanda's book, The Winning Mindset. We have a promotion going on right away. The book is going for lots of money. Dr. T has been generous enough to offer it at 50% to you, but we say on condition that you subscribe to the page on YouTube. Subscribe to the page, take a screenshot, send it to admin@talkwithrams.com. To participate in this conversation, we are also on WhatsApp, so you can send us a WhatsApp voice note. We only take voice notes, not text. There is not enough time to do so. Good evening, Dr. Thando Sibanda. Thank you so much for joining me tonight again on this Motivation Monday.
Good evening, my brother Rams. How are you doing, man?
I'm dark and lovely, Dr. T, and how are you?
No, man, I'm supercharged, man.
I'm supercharged, except I'm also a bit scared, Dr. T. I'm a bit scared because when you told me about this topic, I thought we were getting personal a bit. All of us self-sabotage all the time, Dr. T. When I did the throw forward earlier, I said, even this show, it took me a long time to finally do it because I kept on thinking, who wants to do a show like this? Who would want to follow a show like this when they used to follow it on radio? Why would people bother with this thing? Would I be good enough? I took a long time to get to the point that says, yes, do it. Yeah. Please, Dr. T, I want you to help me contextualize self-sabotage as we start. What is this whole thing about?
Right. I think this is a very important conversation for us to have, because all of us are guilty of this one way or another, and some of us more often than not, and contextualizing self-sabotage really is, have you ever heard that voice that says you can't do that? That's way too difficult. If you try, you'll probably just fail anyway. And and a lot of other negative statements, but they sound as if they are coming from a tyrannical and cruel person with a mission to destroy self-confidence. Unfortunately, all too often, we can be the tyrant and the target can be ourselves.
Yeah. I know that, Dr. T. I mean, I know what you're talking about, that, that voice is mostly our voice. When we hear it from other people, it's confirmation of our own voice. We already have decided and somebody else confirms it for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we we fight others, we criticize people, say you know what, you're not good enough, and everyone who says all the negative stuff, we push back, and say
Yes.
you can't talk to me like that, and yet we say it to ourselves and accept it. And then it starts to determine how we do things.
What is the basic definition though? What do dictionaries say? What do the lexicons tell us about
All right.
self-sabotage?
Sure, absolutely. Let's get into that. Now, sabotage is a very strong term. In fact, it's a military term in its definition, because it means an act or process of hampering or hurting, or a deliberate subversion, especially or usually for political or military advantage.
Yes.
So the synonyms talk about vandalize, wreck, damage,
Ooh.
destroy, cripple, and such words. So it's a very strong word. And so to actually, sabotage literally destroy, and they hamper, and they wreck, and they damage either infrastructure or processes of their opponents, And so it's very strong because we do it to ourselves.
Dr. T, how does it manifest? What are the common themes through which it comes to us?
Right. So see, there are a number of common themes, where self-sabotage manifests. In fact, this behavior recognizes in ourselves, it's through procrastination, putting it off again and again. Sometimes it comes through, you start projects, but you never quite finish them. How many of us started writing books, and it's been years and years. You are still not a published author, but you've got 18 manuscripts that are sitting there. They've never been finished. Sometimes
please don't get personal. Please don't get personal, Dr. T. You can tell us the story without getting personal.
How many books did you start? I remember some. This is so powerful. I remember having a conversation with someone on this same thing, and she said to me, I started knitting a jersey. Back then when our mothers used to knit. She says, I started knitting a jersey. It's still sitting in the Arctic. I've never finished it. It's eating me up.
Oh,
so that's procrastination. And then you find that because of that, you just end up having this culture of not finishing things, of just putting things off that you need to be doing. Sometimes in terms of procrastination, it also shows up in feeling unmotivated, unable to proceed even when there are lots of exciting opportunities. That's one area. The other one is in unfulfilled dreams. We dream of doing something but never do anything about it. It also manifests in worry. I'm gonna get deeper into it as we go. It also manifests in worry, where we fret over things that shouldn't really matter, fearing that if you fail, others will think less of you, worrying that if you are successful, your friends won't like you anymore. Can you imagine? So worry is a double-edged sword. If it's about fearing failure, it will cut you. Some people fear success to a point where they sabotage themselves to fail because they don't, they want to be accepted. Doubting yourself and your abilities, even though you know you are very capable. Feeling stressed and anxious, perhaps suffering from unexplained depression or panic attacks when trying to achieve something important to you. Things like anger, using aggressive and rather than assertive communication, and not taking any steps to change this. Destroying relationships with others, which can be family, friends, co-workers. Through anger, resentment, or jealousy. And also feelings of worthlessness. This is big. I'm gonna get back into it. Feelings of worthlessness shows up where you exaggerate other people's achievements and diminish your own.
Oh.
You can't You can't even take a compliment, you know. If I say, nice jersey, Rams, man, you're like, yeah, well, it was a very cheap thing that I just got, at the flea market. I didn't ask how expensive it was or where you got it. But you can't take a compliment and appreciate it and feel good. You always have to undersell the compliment that comes, you know.
Ooh.
So, that's a certain feeling of worthlessness, and taking unfair and misguided criticism to heart, letting others put you down. So you find that it really shows up in a way where you are always the one who is being sold short. That is what self-sabotage really talks to, and it's such an important subject because a lot of people find themselves in that scenario where we're engaging in self-sabotaging behaviors, and it can totally derail you.
So then, Dr. T, what are the areas where we self-sabotage ourselves? Now, the actual areas where we do it.
Okay, all right. For example, we sabotage ourselves, first of all, in our self-concept. You see, the self-concept is very important because it speaks to how we see ourselves. So when we self-sabotage, we see ourselves as less of what we actually are. This is where we say, you know what, I'm not good enough. No one will listen to me. And some say, you know what, I'm really good at failure. I always mess things up. Have you ever seen people that do things and they start shaking because they're like, you know what, I always mess things up. Some people say to themselves, nothing good ever happens to me. So we genuinely believe that, and we can't even enjoy the good moments and the good things that happen because we've got this premonition that's based on a belief that when things are good is because things are about to get bad, kind of thing. So, so we even jinx our own moments of happiness, you know, and so we convince ourselves of this to the point of depression. Sometimes self-cutting, sometimes mutilation, avoiding breakthrough, fear of and our inability to handle pressure. So this is the issue of what I call a bruised self-concept, where a lion sees itself as a pussycat, you know.
But Dr. T, isn't the flip side also slightly dangerous, where you have an over-exaggerated self-worth?
Absolutely. But I'd rather, you know, over-exaggerate my self-worth than totally undermine it. You see, because the world interacts with your confidence more than they interact with whatever you have to sell. So the first thing is that you see, the self-schema, understanding this concept in psychology called the self-schema, you know, it's very important because our self-schemas, how we see ourselves, they develop right from early childhood based on feedback from our parents and our caregivers, our experiences with our friends and siblings, co-workers, and other people who are very influential in our lives. They determine and they help us form a framework on how we think and we feel about ourselves and how we act in particular situations. So as you grow up, that script keeps playing back of how you see yourself. So if we see ourselves less than what we are and who we are, we will always sell ourselves short. So I'd rather be overconfident than underconfident.
Okay, Dr. T, I'll try it on the golf course this weekend. But I interrupted you. You were telling me about other areas of manifestation.
Okay, absolutely. So the second area is that we experience this in our dreams and our goals. You see, and it's a very big area where we procrastinate, and the key word there. So I'm talking procrastination because you see, procrastination speaks of delaying, an act of delaying or postponing something. And this is very important because when it comes to our dreams and our goals, we procrastinate on building ourselves. We put off what we need to do, and we only move when we are put under pressure. And the problem, therefore, with pressure is that we are never really prepared. You see, and then we don't move until we're under pressure. then when the pressure comes, then we move quickly. But then we then tell ourselves, we justify it subconsciously by saying, I thrive under pressure. I've met a lot of people say to me, Dr. T, I work well under pressure. No. You probably procrastinate. And then when a deadline is looming, then you are rushing and you just manage to push things over the line. You see, thriving under pressure is okay if there is absolutely no challenges and you work in a high pressure environment. You see, that is what it should, that's the context of saying, I work in a very high pressure environment. Maybe it's an agency or whatever it is, but it's a high pressure environment and you've got to perform at your top level. But a lot of us use that as an excuse, to sort of hide the laziness part that comes because of procrastination. Say, then I know I operate well under pressure. Well, guess what? A lot of us operate because there is a deadline. That's when we start doing stuff. For example, we submit assignments late. No, I've got an assignment I need to submit by midnight. Yours goes in at 5 minutes after midnight. I used to see it whenever, people are responding to tenders, companies are responding to tenders, how people scramble, to print and go and hand in the tender, and you are arriving there just a minute before they close, or sometimes you arrive 5 minutes after they close.
Yes.
It's procrastination. We procrastinate. You knew about it 2 months ago, but you only start doing it 2 hours before it closes, and everything is a mess.
Yeah, and I suspect when we procrastinate, Dr. T, even the quality gets compromised.
Oh, absolutely. You see, you don't cross the T's and you don't dot the I's whenever you are working under pressure, because you are looking at the big picture without paying attention to the detail. So the whole thing is, I just need to hand it in. I just need to hand it in. Maybe everyone else is also rushing. And they missed the deadline. I'm the only one who ended. Even if my work is bad, but at least I handed it in, kind of thing. See, that's a very big act of self-sabotage. Sometimes we even put off going back to school or developing ourselves, and this is very important. I remember years back when I went back to do my master's and my PhD, I spoke to a couple of guys. I said, guys, let's do a destiny run together. Some said, no, not now. Some said, no, I want to rest this year. I'll do it next year. It's been years. And a lot of people that put it off never did it. And so it's very important to understand that when we procrastinate on our dreams, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to develop and reinvent ourselves. Remember, every time you reinvent yourself, you introduce some new plot points and new storylines to your life narrative. So every time you procrastinate, you are taking away new plot points and new storylines from your life narrative.
Ooh.
Number three.
Yes.
Number three. We self-sabotage in our jobs and our careers. Now, this is very big because here we suffer from a lack of self-confidence. A lot of people sit in meetings, Rams, and don't say what they think or what they feel because there's a feeling that, my ideas are not worth much and my ideas are useless. And many departments have gone down the drain, and sometimes companies have gotten into trouble because the wrong person who had no ideas spoke up. And you had the answer to something that could solve the problem for the organization, but you felt you were not good enough and everything went south. And the person with the answer, you were there, you were sitting in the room. Why? Because we don't feel like, look at this. Self-sabotage, especially within the work context, kills our self-confidence, right? Our self-confidence, in fact, remember, confidence speaks of a trust in one's abilities, qualities, and judgment. You know that I can do this. You know that I've got the qualities for it, and my judgment is sound. That's what self-confidence is. But because we lack it, we even suffer abuse. A lot of people take abuse within the work context. Not because they should, but rather because they don't know how not to. So you become a doormat, for a bully that's out there in your department, or for a boss who's a bully, because you can't stand up for yourself. See, people who abuse others have a problem, but it doesn't mean that you should be able to take it either. So we really sabotage ourselves in our job environment. Why? Because our self-confidence is at zero. We are not able to stand up for ourselves, and we seek affirmation from others. We don't trust our abilities, our qualities, and our judgment.
Wow.
Another area is in our relationships, right? In our relationships, we also self-sabotage there. We subconsciously look down on ourselves and our situations, sometimes more than we should, and because men self-sabotage a lot. Have you realized that a lot of guys will either date at their level or date down, and seldom date up? Men, a lot of guys have a problem approaching a woman who's more successful than them or who seems to be achieving better than them. It's a form of self-sabotage.
Ego, Dr. T, it's ego.
So we don't even allow ourselves to even enjoy the relationships we are in, because we buy into the narrative that says relationships are work, or the mother-in-law is terrible, even though she's never done anything wrong to you. You tell mother-in-law, terrible human being, and so we don't give ourselves a fair shot at happiness, because we don't believe that it's worthwhile to be happy for us, and so a lot of people believe, because they don't believe they deserve to be happy, they self-sabotage themselves, even when they could try, even when they could put an effort and succeed. We just don't do that.
I will have you know, Dr. T, that I'm not the only one who's complaining that you're being personal. People are getting pain here. I'm getting a lot of people going, ouch, why Dr. T attacking me? So I'm not the only one in this game. You are making us feel very attacked, but that's very good, so that we can then deal with this issue. Therefore, Dr. T, now that I know what I know,
yes,
how do we solve this?
Right. This is very important, and for those that need further help, Rams, I'm available as a personal development coach to help people, genuinely to help people. But remember, self-sabotage is a cycle. It becomes a cycle in your life. No matter if you sabotage yourself in one area, because neurons that wire together, you will sabotage yourself in other areas. Remember, right, in our thinking, remember we speak 120 words, 65 to 120 words a minute, but we think 6 to 7 times faster. So we're thinking really about 700 words per minute. We're thinking about what? 36,000, sorry, 700 thoughts per minute, 36,000 thoughts in an hour, and just under 1 million thoughts in a 24-hour day. And the cycle of sabotage says that up to 80% of our self-talk is negative. You are saying to yourself, I'm just not good enough. You're saying to yourself, you know what, let me keep quiet. What if she says something? What if I'm challenged? Will I be able to stand for myself? Is it time to fight? Yes, sometimes it is the time to fight. Sometimes it is the time to stand up. Sometimes it is the time to say no. But we always talk ourselves out of something. I'm sure many of our listeners will recall, even today, you said, I wanted to do this, but then I said to myself, and then I thought to myself, and then I said to myself. Now, the pattern and the cycle is that up to 80% of really our self-thoughts and our self-talk is normally self-sabotaging. We're talking ourselves out of stuff. There's an amygdala hijack, where we're thinking, you know what, perhaps I just shouldn't go there. So it becomes a cycle. The first thing is you need to know, number one, identify how you are sabotaging yourself.
So be conscious.
This is very important. Yes. Identify, where am I sabotaging myself? In fact, you can even take a paper and create 2 columns on a piece of paper. On the left, you can list the healthy habits that you'd like to be doing. And then think about the times in your life when you've tried to implement them. What happened? Then in the right column, you can write all down next to each healthy habit, all the actions and thoughts that stopped you from doing that thing and from keeping it up. I said, I wanted to do this, but then I decided, no, let me just sleep in. I'm tired after all, my body needs the rest. That was a mental excuse. So So you've got to understand that and ask yourselves, what goals have I had for myself for a long time and never been able to accomplish? Why didn't I accomplish that? What do I consistently fail at? And for what reason do I consistently fail at doing something? Sometimes just because we don't apply ourselves, because we just think that we have failed before we've started. How many people go into a race and they, I really believe Usain Bolt is really a great athlete. But in fact, that a lot of times people that get into the line with him don't look at themselves as number one. They know, okay, here I'm fighting for number 3. Because there's Tyson Gay there, and there's Justin Gatlin, so I'm probably competing for number 4. We count ourselves out before we do that. If we were all like that, James Buster Douglas would not have knocked out Mike Tyson if he was in the habit of counting out himself before he started. So check out the areas where you are consistently failing to move ahead. Secondly, monitor your negative thinking. You see, we don't understand that our thought needs a strategy. We need a thinking strategy. Have you ever asked yourself, why is it that some people, whatever they are thinking is always terrible? A guy sits there and decides that, you know what, I'm not going to go to work, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit and drink the whole day. And then I'm going to smoke some things that are going to mess up my head, and I'm going to, you see, it's because before your body gets into action, there is a thought matrix that has happened. So we need to monitor our negative thinking. Anytime you're starting to think negatively, you're starting to talk yourself out of something, be conscious about it. I know I need to write and finish my book, before the end of next month. Anytime when I've set up in my calendar to write, anytime I think I need to finish that movie, guess what? I need to talk to myself and say, what am I thinking? Why am I talking myself out of what I need to be doing? Why is this happening now? You see, the moment you become in the moment, the other thing that's very important is learn how to move from your subconscious positioning into your thinking mind, into your prefrontal, into your neocortex. Why is that important? Because we spend a lot of our time in our subconscious mind. Up to 80% of our time is spent in that subconscious mind, where you are thinking of things generally. Why? Because active thinking takes a lot of oxygen and a lot of glucose. So your brain has to take a lot of energy to actually think. So a lot of us prefer to be just under the water there, chilling in our subconscious mind, and we don't allow ourselves to think much. Anytime you start talking yourself and engaging in negative self-talk and negative thinking, come back into the present and question that. It's called developing a thought strategy. So the precepts that then inform the concepts, and then the concepts that then become the ideas, and then the ideas that then move that move into the abstract, and then that become the actions, and then that become the habits. You see, it's a process. Even your very thought system starts from a precept, the idea that informs the idea, and then that idea progresses. You see, so you should learn how to interrupt your thinking process and question, am I self-sabotaging here? If so, why? What are my fears? What are the issues? Why is it important for me to do what I need to do? And why am I talking myself out of it? So when it's a skill, it's a muscle. It may look like it's not possible, but it's a muscle. We can do it. It is possible. Number 3.
I like that. Okay.
Right. We should learn to challenge our self-sabotaging thinking. And that is where I'm saying, in that thinking process, in that thinking matrix, ask yourself, right? Stop and ask yourself, what deeper thoughts lie behind this self-sabotaging thinking? It's very important. Are these thoughts rational? Are they based on clear facts? Are past unsuccessful attempts unnecessarily preventing me from making a positive change? You see, a lot of times we don't want to go deep in our own thinking matrix, so we accept whatever our mindset throws at us. But the danger with our mindset is that our mindset is amoral. Our subconscious mind is amoral. It will process whatever the mindset is pushing. It doesn't really care. So we've got to actively, confront our self-sabotaging thinking. If we did that, believe me, a lot of people would not stop wearing masks just because other people are not wearing masks. You'll understand that, number one, it is my health. And secondly, my body responds differently to sickness than from the next person. Something that someone else can withstand, it can take you out. So why would you make a decision not to wear a mask just because others are not wearing masks? See, right there, there's a flawed mental framework right there.
Exactly.
You are engaging mob psychology when you should be engaging proper reasoning that has to do with yourself. Project yourself into the situation. You see, so we need to challenge our self-sabotaging thinking. If I have something to say that can be meaningful to the company, why not say it? Why should I keep quiet? What if what I say is important? And how will people know what you are thinking? Because they don't mind reading. So challenge those thoughts and challenge yourself to stand up for yourself. And number four, and this way I'm gonna cap it. Develop self-supporting behaviors. These are very important. Self-supporting behaviors are where you actually discipline your life. Remember, the word discipline comes from the word disciple, right? So disciple and discipline are the same. A disciple is someone who follows the teaching. And that is why discipline is the act of following certain principles, And so we need to become disciples of our destiny. Why? Because then we learn from there, and our actions totally exclude other options that don't take us in the direction where we need to go. So we've got to develop what are the self-supporting behaviors that need to be in my life. I need to rebuild my self-confidence. I need to believe that I am good enough. I need to believe that I matter. I need to believe that I am of sound mind, that my opinions matter. You see, I need to start capacitating myself in areas that you don't know. Study, put some time into it, gather information, increase your self-schema, your self-concept, the sense of this self-concept. You need to boost that confidence. It's very, very important. And then, last, number 5, create your own self-care plan. Have a list of daily practices to foil that inner saboteur. That inner saboteur, believe me, when you start, his voice is very loud. He's got a megaphone. But day after day, when you have your own self-care plan, where you have this telltale to yourself that you can do it, and you are making sure that this voice is not bigger than your actions, guess what? Your confidence will start to grow. Your confidence will start to increase. And there will be less and less negative self-talk, because that can be a pattern that you can fall into, and it can totally derail your life.
Wow, Dr. T, the inner voice, the self-saboteur, I always refer to it as the chihuahua. Once in a while, all of us have walked past some place and there's this little thing that's barking, making so much noise. And when you turn once at it and say, ha, it runs away. So we need to turn this loud voice into a chihuahua and show it that who's boss in this game.
Oh, absolutely. That can be the difference between where you need to go and where you can remain,
Wow. Well, look, I'm glad that you've given the tools. I'm hoping that nobody comes around and says, yeah, I hear what Dr. T says, but, well, guys, we've given you the tools. You don't have to remember them. You can listen to the show again and again and again, but I think the best way to do it is rather get the book, The Winning Mindset. Get Dr. T's book. It's on discount with us. You just get the details. They're on our page already, how to get the book. And I tell you now, you will end self-sabotaging. And what you're going to do? You can then help us to bring Dr. T to tell us more stuff so that we don't repeat the same program again and again and again. So do the right thing. Dr. T, I want to leave them with the words that you once shared with me, because I think these words always ring in my head forever. And I quote you: turning your dreams into reality requires solid planning and lots of work and effort. To start the process, however, you need to believe in yourself and your ability to actually do it. I have never forgotten those words, Dr. T, and I will never forget those words. Thank you so much, Dr. T.
Thanks, Rams. It's a pleasure, my brother. Always a
I
pleasure.
can. Their responses are amazing here. I mean, there's one that I like here that says, "I'm gonna find it before you leave." I love that. Oh, is somebody saying, "My body always needs rest," and they're using what you're saying as a how they use that excuse not to do what they need to do, and they're actually laughing at themselves in the comment
Sure.
here. But everyone is saying the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Daniel Torriso says, "What is a sabotage?" There's amazing comments here, and I hope people learn a lot. I'm gonna respond to one person who wrote. Bongi Kele says, "Thank you, Dr. T. I'm one of the people who can't work under pressure. Great for you." But she says, "How I wish tonight's episode is given an hour." Bongi, whether we give it an hour or 30 minutes or 30 days, the topic will be the same. I think you still got it in 30 minutes, what we needed to give you. So quality does not have to be elongated. It can be done very, very quickly. And I'm still interested in 30 minutes of good content. That's what we do. So tomorrow evening, you've got an amazing opportunity in the tech space. Somebody in Devon has come up with an amazing project for tech-based businesses, and they're growing a program for them. And he's so eager to share it with you, actually, that he joined us tonight. We had to tell him that actually the show is tomorrow evening. So do not miss Opportunity Tuesday, because I can tell you the guest could not even miss tonight's show, that he thought it was Tuesday already. So thank you very much to everybody for joining us tonight, for your comments. We are truly appreciate what you do. Do please apply to get Dr. T's book. This special is not going to last forever. I can't twist him forever. I can only keep him with that special for up to so long. Thank you for all of you on Instagram too for joining us. Thank you to Frederick. Today he did not embarrass us at all. Thank you, Freddie. You'll keep your job for a long while. And from me, Rems Mabote, good night and God bless.